Show and Tell Signature.
Welcome to Show and Tell Signature. These are just some of my favorite friends talking about their favorite decks. Today I am joined by the girl with the green suit, Greenie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello. Yeah, so my name is Girl with the Green Suit. I also go by Greenie online, and I'm an avid cEDH player who is aiming to make my favorite way to play, cEDH, more accessible to more people. It's fun to play with powerful cards. When I'm not playing Magic, I really like helping to host tournaments in my server, Tough Mulligans, where we teach you cEDH. I also really like building super budget decks. I have a $10 Winota deck and a $30 Turek Enerid deck. Oh my goodness, they're so much fun. So come hang out with us at Tough Mulligans.
There you go. cEDH, don't be scared of it. More people should play it, I feel like. I keep meaning to. I have an idea for a deck that I keep meaning to build. That's the Mono Blue Urza. Mostly because I want to use the Terra Brantford, the Terra Amano card. I have just got to buy it. Anyways, we're not talking about Urza today. We're talking about Winota, Joiner of Forces. Like we mentioned, this is a cEDH deck, so automatically kind of sticks it in that bracket 5 category. Just some notable cards from your game changers kind of list. You have a Draneth Magistrate, Ancient Tomb, Enlightened Tutor. And then I guess what might be considered a typical fast mana package for cEDH: Chrome Mox, Mana Vault, Mox Diamond. Some fun stuff in there. It's funny. Lotus Petal is not considered a game changer. I guess just given it's quite just a 1 mana thing. But Lotus Petal is a cool card. When I started playing, Tempest was kind of around, so I have a lot of Lotus Petals sticking around. So it's just a very sentimental card to me in general. So
They shot up in value recently, by the way.
Oh really? Oh, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I always laugh because I have a bunch of old cards, but I don't have any dual lands or Gaia's Cradles. But some of a lot of Ancient Tombs and Lotus Petals I ended up with, which is not a bad thing to be flush with in the grand scheme of things. That being said, Commander Winota. So let's see. I'm just going to read her off real fast. So 2 red and white for a 4/4. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Put the rest of the cards at the bottom of your library in a random order. That indestructible clause I feel like always kind of sneaks in on people as well.
It's so trashed. It's so good.
Yeah. So talk to me about Winota. What drew you towards building her?
Yeah, so you can't see it because I'm sitting down and I've got headphones on, but I actually use hearing aids. I'm hard of hearing, and I also walk with a cane because I'm physically disabled. Now, if you look really closely at Winota's art, not a lot of people realize this. She's missing an arm. Winota is disability representation. When I started playing cEDH, I was very, very nervous about kind of the concept of blue, I'm going to be honest, just kind of knowing how to interact, when to interact, different win cons. I was very scared about that. So I ended up drawing away from blue and I started playing Boros, and Winota is it's a very powerful deck. I really like beats. I'm kind of a Timmy at heart. So being able to play that in cEDH at the highest power, that was very enticing for me.
It's funny too, because I think Boros, especially Commander, kind of gets knocked on a lot as one of the weaker color combinations, but cEDH wise, I think Winota for a long time was really up there, popular Commander at least to play. So what's the core idea of the deck? What is the kind of the game plan here?
So there's 2 versions of Winota that you can generally play. There's Stacks Winota, which is a very traditional list. It aims to take out little creatures like Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker, things like that, 0-drops and 1-drops, and then you'll lay down very oppressive stacks pieces. Think Draneth Magistrate, think Rule of Law, think Charismatic Conqueror, things like that. That's not a human, but still.
Yeah.
And there's the turbo version of Winota, which is the version that I run, where you overwhelm opponents with more of an endless barrage of non-humans. So again, still smaller creatures, but a lot faster, so we're not running as many 1-drops. And then we'll bring out either massive humans for damage, their combo pieces, or in the case of things like Evangel of Heliod, where they'll make more non-humans in order to swing to bring out more creatures. So it's a very combo-heavy, very fast deck. I do have a little bit of, just in case things speed up too much, like you mentioned Draneth Magistrate, I have also Magus of the Moon, but it's much more light on the stacks package than a traditional Winota list.
Oh, very interesting. All right. Just some notes I have from just kind of, again, as a non-cEDH player, only 27, it's 27 lands, but 29, I guess, including the modal dual face cards. Do you find, so for that amount of lands, do you find just trying to play lower to the ground makes it accessible? I guess with the artifact kind of ramp you have, do you find it difficult, or how does the mana situation work out for you most of the time there?
Every once in a while, I'll play with the idea of throwing in another land because there are absolutely moments where I'm hurting. However, generally speaking, cEDH is a lot more comfortable with mulliganing to very low numbers. I've run this deck a couple of times. The lowest I can get in terms of my mulligans and still be consistent is about 4.
Okay.
So I have the opportunity to see a lot of cards. That opportunity leads me to be able to run less lands because I have more chances to get the lands that I need. I also am able to run fewer lands because in a lot of ways I'm in fewer colors.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll see a different land package. Not necessarily more or less, but a different land package for like a 5-color Cadrith or Sisay or even a Jilla deck than you will for a 2-color deck. But you are absolutely right that being able to play lower to the ground with those low drop non-human creatures allows me to cut a lot more land slots than casual lists. Though there are cEDH lists that run as few as 19. I've seen as low as 14 lands in cEDH decks.
That's wild. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, not even just cEDH, but it just Magic in general. Like aggressive mulliganing is like a skill that a lot of people overlook or are just unfamiliar with. It's too often like a person will take one mulligan and is like, well, I don't want to go down 1 card or 2 cards, but not being able to play stuff on curve or only having maybe 1 or 2 things to do for the first few rounds of the turn can really throw off a game plan just right from the jump, right?
Yeah. If you don't have a strong start, you just don't get there. You just don't.
Yeah. Just some notes for someone kind of looking through the deck list. Again, as someone who's not a big cEDH player, but just kind of interesting things. 6 artifacts, as mentioned. Most of it is, again, just mana rocks. But I saw Urbrax Forge, which I thought was a pretty inspired kind of offering there. Is this kind of just one of those things where it's just like it's going to give you a non-human body every turn to kind of throw once Winota's in play? Or just, I mean, just in general, right? It's kind of one of those repeatable kind of value, not a real value engine, but gives you something.
Mm-hmm. So Urbrask Forge is a wonderful card in specifically my version and Mormonator's version of Winota. There's another deck builder. His name is Mormonator. He built most of this list, and I've changed a couple of cards. Urbrask Forge is in there for a couple of reasons. Number 1, the biggest threat to Winota is a board wipe. The biggest board wipe that is a threat to Winota is something called Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge gives creatures -X/-X, so you can't get around it with Indestructible or Hexproof because it's all creatures. Really the only way you can stop a Toxic Deluge, in specifically Boros colors, is something called Order of the Sacred Torch. I'm not on it. It's a creature. You can tap it, pay a life, and counter target black spell. That's really the only way to stop a Deluge. However, when we have cards like Urbrask Forge, which itself is not a creature, it's much more powerful. Artifact removal does happen in cEDH, I would say more frequently than casual. However, between artifact removal, Urbrask Forge, or artifact removal that Chrome Mox underneath Blue Farm, everyone's going to be looking at the other decks. So Urbrask Forge gets away with a lot of shenanigans that I should not be allowed to get away with.
It does feel like a card that's going to go under scrutiny. Like people are going to look at it like, okay, yeah, they're going to get a token every turn, and it can get kind of big, but they're not going to point their braid or whatever at it, probably compared to something that seems like more of an immediate threat. But again, it's as someone who started playing, it's not cEDH, but who started playing Sephiroth a lot, just cards that can generate repeated value over turns are like so advantageous in these sort of games, because Nota's great, but if you have no non-humans to throw at your opponents, you're kind of stuck. So just getting something at least once a turn definitely can make up for maybe just kind of missing out on creatures. Speaking of creatures too, 48 creatures.
Yes.
That definitely caught my eye. But I feel like a deck like this, like you got to have like a mass amount of creatures to really kind of get it going. And out of the 48, it looks like about 27 of them are humans. Which, am I really bad, just quick back of the napkin math, I feel like a lot of times that kind of number is kind of guarantees a hit every flip when you're flipping. I think was it six cards at a time, so you're not kind of like missing out. But yeah, 48 creatures. That is a lot of creatures. But I feel like that's kind of how this deck kind of really operates. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've had previous versions, Staxier versions, that have run as many as 52. However, generally speaking, you'll find that most Winota decks will run about half creatures. And the reason for that is because we are a creature deck, right? That's very, very unique in terms of cEDH. Even decks that run cards like Gaia's Cradle don't run this many creatures, generally speaking. And that's simply because creatures are very difficult to get value out of. There's ETB effects, which can be very powerful in the likes of like Sisei Tutor Chains, but even then, most of the time you're running more planes. You're using, at least the more common lines tend to be focused around planeswalkers as opposed to creatures. Creatures just really are not. They struggle to get there all the way in cEDH a lot of times. However, Winota, because we're able to do a little bit more combat tricks. Between cheating things in, we're not actually casting anything. If I lay down a Magus of the Moon off Winota, you can't counter it. It's there now. Congratulations. And then also giving things indestructible allows us to get away with so much that we should not be allowed to get away with. And so we are able to run much higher density of creatures than even some casual decks. And that's a very, very unique point of the deck that I personally really appreciate because I love big creatures. I'm a Timmy at heart.
Yeah. Again, it's to your point, like it almost feels like winning through creatures in Commander, be it cEDH or not, it's almost kind of like, oh, like you're gonna win through creatures. You don't see that often, or maybe it's kind of like looked upon as maybe not the most elegant way to kind of play. But I think this kind of deck kind of proves like no, like Magic at its core, I think is a creature-based game. Like we have creatures, and you can kind of you can make this work. And great, some of the creatures are just like fun creatures, like I'm a big fan of Lightning Army of One from Final Fantasy, kind of a cool card. For just first strike, trample, likely the stagger effects. It deals. When lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to the player or a permanent the player controls, it deals double damage instead. I think for the longest time, I didn't realize it was every source you control deals double damage. I thought it was like a one-time trigger. So like stuff like that. I think there's a Boromir in here, which is another just like one of those almost like a Swiss knife kind of card. Vigilance counters free mana spells, which is like I feel like amazing for a cEDH kind of base form cEDH format. And then you can sacrifice them to make all your cards indestructible if you don't have Winota going off.
There's another use for Boromir, actually. So if you scroll over the card, what is it called? Aemir, Marshal of Rohan. Okay. So Aemir, Marshal of Rohan says that if an attacking legendary creature dies, then you get an extra combat. So there's a couple of creatures that are legendary that also have self-sacrifice effects. Hope of Girapur is one. Lena, the Selfless Champion is one, and Boromir is one. So really the hot tack that you can do is you can somehow have Boromir out, and then you can flip... so you can have Aemir out, and then you can flip either Boromir or Lena or something off the top, have it attack, and it's attacking, and then you sacrifice it to itself, and that counts as a die trigger because it's going from the battlefield to the graveyard, and then you get an extra combat.
Yes.
So you can just abuse that. It's so fun.
Yes. Between like lightning, I think where's the pirates that like double or triple damage.
Angrath's Marauders.
There you go. Angrath, that
double damage.
Classic Winota card. I think you can get more than one combat with this deck going. Like people are gonna die, and they're gonna die very fast, I would say.
Yes, they die very, very fast, especially with these damage doublers. I have a card in here called Duke Older Raven Guard, which gives things Myriad. Typically, I like to give Angrath's Marauders Myriad. That's my favorite way to do it. That way they take 8 times damage.
It's just numbers you wouldn't think about being possible, but here we are.
You ever die to an Ornithopter?
No, you know what? I play a lot of Arena, so there's weird alchemy cards that make Ornithopters scary. But in paper, I have not. But that would be terrifying. If you're getting killed by an Ornithopter, you're probably having a bad time. Fun time.
I ruin people's days.
All right. Lastly, I just wanted to throw out two enchantments. Breath of Fury and digital combat phase and Touch the Spirit Realm. Is Touch the Spirit Realm more of just a save Winota type thing, or I guess it could be used because it's exile target where'd it go? Artifact or enchantment artifact or creature till it leaves the battlefield, or you can discard it for the channel. I guess the channel ability is super nice too, right? Because that's it kind of gets around counter spells in a lot of instances to kind of save an important creature.
So Touch the Spirit Realm is a very interesting card just because it is so modal. Yeah. Right? Being able to remove something basically permanently or have it bounce and come back. You'll notice on that channel ability, it actually doesn't say that you control. It just says exile target artifact or creature. So if somebody is popping a Ranger Captain of Eos or casts a Silence to try to win, I can channel the ability, because channel is an ability of a card. It's not casting the card. It's not an alternate casting cost. And I can phase out something important. It's effectively a phase out, right? So I can phase out something important, like a specific creature, their commander, maybe, if they're trying to flicker it, an artifact, that's going to generate a ton of value. So back in the day, Hullbreaker Horror lines. Sometimes, if you timed it right, you could use this to phase out their Soul Ring or their Mana Crypt, or you can even use it to phase out a Hullbreaker Horror. Kinnan is a great target. Sisay is a great target if you're running against Tutor Chains. Like, there's just a lot of really good targets for that. And then, like you said, there's also a lot of board wipe protection, being able to protect those key pieces against specific board wipes, or against even, like, removal magic. Yeah. So Winota eats so many Assassin's Trophies, so many... It's not even funny. But being able to just go, nope, I'm gonna bounce my commander, you don't get to target it, is very, very powerful.
Yeah. Channel ability is, like, again, one of those things, like, you have a card, the channel ability, it feels so good to have in your hand, because you can kind of get away with a lot more sneaky stuff than maybe just like an instant would allow you to. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the one.
The one.
All right, so I think, as someone who's went up against Winota a lot in Brawl and Arena, this does not surprise me for your choice, but Blade Historian, I believe, is your choice for the one. So, it's up there. You know what? Pretty classic. 4 hybrid Boros mana. Attacking creatures you control have double strike for a 2/3. It's simple, it's eloquent, but gets the job done, I would assume.
So for any Winota list, keep in mind, like I mentioned, I really like building budget decks. I have a Winota deck where, outside of the commander, because Winota is $5, the deck is $10. Wow. It's $10, and a lot of that value is in Blade Historian. You can play it at low brackets, you can play it at high brackets. Blade Historian is really iconic for Winota. It also exiles itself under Chrome Mox to tap for both mana.
Yeah.
Which I don't think a lot of people realize, because it's hybrid mana, it counts for both. Yep. It's very eloquent, it's very beautiful. It's very sleek. It is the epitome of Winota. It is a human that does combat tricks in Boros coloring. If you're asking for cEDH, I would make an argument for Rick, Steadfast Leader, or Greymond, Avacyn Stalwart. However, in terms of, like, Winota as an icon in every bracket, it is absolutely Blade Historian.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And just lastly, how do you think this deck just you've kind of spoken to it a little bit already, but, like, reflects your normal play style, and just any memorable moments you've had kind of playing this deck that kind of stand out to you?
Yeah. So I know I wear green all the time, right? But in my soul, I am a red player. I like to go fast. I like to get things done in terms of, like, content. I'm like a week and a half ahead on videos right now. Like, I just get stuff done. I have to do it now or it doesn't get done at all. And that reflects a lot in Winota with the red, but also it's tempered a lot with the white. So sometimes I have to slow myself down. No, don't push out that video yet. Do it again. Make sure it's proper. Make sure it's done right. And being able to slow that down and being able to get a lot more of that assuredness in things like combat, which is supported a lot by white. Mm-hmm. Similarly, things like therapy, slowing down, focusing. I have ADHD, so I take things like Adderall and Ritalin. Medication, just being able to have support in my life really enables me to just hit the ground running. And just like in Winota, especially in previous versions, the white stacks were able to really enable the red pieces to just beat people senseless. It's really gross.
That's funny. Yeah, very popular deck, fun to play. I mean, I think for a lot of people maybe getting into cEDH might be kind of a good entry point as well. Again, so Greenie, thank you so much for sitting down, spending some time with me talking Winota. I know probably didn't have to twist your arm too hard to come on, and I know you're a very big fan of her. You can find this particular deck list on the Show and Tell Signature Moxfield page. Not sponsored by Moxfield, just really love the site. Great place to put your deck list, find inspiration for new decks, among other things. And yeah, I'll look for Greenie Bluesky and all over the place. I'll make sure to look at all their stuff. And if you've enjoyed it, feel free to hit that follow button. And we'll see you soon, Greenie, and we'll catch everyone next time.